Hi, everyone. It's Coach Leah Dunlap, the Oracle on Purpose. And tonight is Wild Wisdom Wednesday. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for joining me. For those of you who have never been here before, where have you been? Wild Wisdom Wednesday is the day when I take a book off my shelf. We flip through the pages and we find some sort of gem that is meant to inspire, maybe bring us to some questioning, and hopefully, at the very minimum, give us a little something to talk about tonight. So if you're here, say hello. If you're watching the replay, do me a favor and write replay in the comments, okay? I want to see how many of you are watching this replay. I know a lot of people do watch the replay and a lot of people come in and out live. So if you'll mark down in the comments below, replay or live, that's super helpful. Thanks so much. So what is our book tonight? Well, as you can tell, I'm a teeny bit excited. I haven't actually popped this book off my shelf in a little while, but I constantly talk about it because it is literally one of my favorite books. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I'm going to show you what the book is. I'll also tell you about this book. This is a funny thing. I thought I lost this book in a move. Pardon me. Other eye. I'm not crying, I promise. I thought I lost this book during a move. And so I bought another copy. So I literally have 2 copies of this book. And no, I didn't gift them because I just have them on different parts of my home. And so if I need one in the office and one next to my couch, they're there. So anyway, okay, so it's Wild Wisdom Wednesday. And tonight's book is The Holographic Universe from Michael Talbot. So if you know me, if you've done any workshops with me, if you've talked to me at a coffee shop, you have probably heard me mention this book. I find the greatest thing about this book that I really appreciate and I like to share is that it takes a lot of the quantum theory and breaks it down into like relatable chunks, but it also talks about the esoteric world and mysteries and magic and all kinds of different phenomenon. That's the right word for it. Phenomenon that a lot of people just kind of challenge outright as impossible or far-fetched or just stories that people tell. And it breaks them down by their potential quantum relation. So it says, well, in the quantum world, this is so. And so that may explain some of these supposed mysteries, right? So hi, welcome to the show. So today we're going to pick a section. Do I need to tell you anything more? I don't think so. Okay. So if I do, I will. We're going to pick a section to speak on. And actually I'm going to go this way. I don't know why. It feels like it's a better way to go. And we are going to be on, speaking of miracles, page 144. The chapter title is A Pocket Full of Miracles. And so let's see if we want to go down. Some of this stuff is very technical, so I want to make sure we get everything we can. All right. So Novelist Josephine had suggested that something like this may be going on. See, and that's why we're going to have to back up. Okay, so let's see if I think I'm going to go ahead and grab this extra page over here on 144. And, these might help. All right, we'll try that again. Now I can actually see what I'm reading. There's a concept, right? All right. If consciousness plays a role in the creation of subatomic particles, is it possible that our observations of the subatomic world are also reality fields of a kind? All right. If consciousness plays a role in the creation of subatomic particles, is it possible that our observations of the subatomic world are also reality fields of a kind? If John can perceive a suit of armor through the senses of a friend in Paris, so we're talking about remote viewing, is it any more far-fetched to believe that physicists all around the world are unconsciously interconnecting with one another and using a form of mutual hypnosis, similar to that used by TART subjects to create the consensus characteristics they observe in an electron? This possibility may be supported by another unusual feature of hypnosis. Unlike other altered states of consciousness, hypnosis is not associated with any unusual EEG patterns. Physiologically speaking, the mental state hypnosis most closely resembles is our normal waking consciousness. I'm going to say that again. Physiologically speaking, the mental state of hypnosis most closely resembles is our normal waking consciousness. Does this mean that normal waking consciousness is itself a kind of hypnosis? And we are all constantly tapping into reality fields. Ooh, I'm glad I backed up. Okay, so I'm gonna read the piece that I was just adding. Hey there, welcome. Hi, Sarah. Let's see who's here. Sarah's here. She says hello. And thanks for being here, guys. Great. All right, I'm gonna hide that now. There we go. Okay, so let's see. It says, so this is the cool part, and this is why I like this book so much, and why it's one of my favorites. So it talks about Nobilis Josephine had suggested that something like this may be going on. Like Globus, he takes Castaneda's work seriously and has attempted to relate it to quantum physics. He proposes that objective reality is produced out of the collective memories of the human race, while anomalous events such as those experienced by Castaneda are the manifestation of the individual will. Oh, I'm so glad I backed up. Okay, so what are we on? Page 144 and 145. So, yeah, okay, so let's talk. Let's talk. I'm taking the glasses off. I don't need those anymore. So here's my insight on that. It's like my juicy favorite thing to talk about is how we manifest and why it really is a natural thing. There isn't, there is evidence, right? Scientific evidence that we are affecting the world around us with our thoughts. We are part of that creative force. We are doing something with the thoughts we think, and we're producing an experience in our reality. And so this book, that's the reason I find it so fascinating, is it breaks some of these things down. So the concept that our participation in creation is not some mystical, seemingly woo-woo thing that only a few can manage. You have to be at a higher level to produce these results. I think that's a piece of this, right? Like, as long as you are aware and you're consciously creating something, then you can consciously create what you want, right? So the awareness and the belief that you actually can participate in creation allows you to consciously create things. Follow me? So what you believe, you receive is another way. You might have heard that before. And for me, when I work with my clients in coaching them and working with them on the law of attraction and manifestation, this is the core of it. This is like the piece that I think so many individuals lose sight of. Like, they think of it as something that's either beyond them, or that they have to kind of create some sort of mystical experience to tap into this process, right? So I would suggest, based on this little snippet for today, that not only is that not true, but that the opposite is true. That every single thing we are doing, we're already tapping into it. It's not like we have to try. What I think we find ourselves doing is trying. Like the stress and the worry and the fretting that we think we're using to kind of manipulate the process. That's the trying, right? But the reality of it is that you are already doing this. This is not a thing that you have to try to do. My suggestion and my work is really about helping people learn how to do it consciously, not through effort, right? And not through force, but through recognition. and choice. Oh, and I think it says that, what was it, 144, 145? Anybody want to help me? Does anybody write that down? 144, 144. I think it even said that in there, right? Let's see. 140. All right. There was a moment in here I thought it said something about that, like the will. Yes. Yes. Yeah, there it is. So he proposes that objective reality is produced out of the collective memories of the human race, while anomalous events, such as those experienced by Castaneda, are the manifestation of the individual will. The manifestation of the individual will. Come on, doesn't that give you goosebumps? Doesn't that excite you? Aren't you pumped right now to think, I could do that? I could make this different just by changing what I want to believe in, what I want to create, what I'm actively participating in thinking about. I mean, I think that's what it's talking about. It's like, we have that gift right now. There's no place where we have to go get it. Listen, if you walk away, if you watch this in the replay, if you're watching it live, please just walk away with that notion in mind. Play with it. Contemplate it. There is nothing for you to go get to make this work. There is nothing outside of you to attain to use this tool, if you will. So my question is, for those of you watching and for those of you watching the replay, tell me something. Tell me a thing. Doesn't matter what it is. Tell me a thing that if you could think it into being, you would. If that's all you had to do, nothing else, and we'll go into that more detail. But if that's all you needed to do is to really believe and think it into being, what would that one thing be? Do you know? What would that one thing be? I would love to see your insights into what that would be. You know, I think that's a really great way to practice using that free will. And I think it is a practice. I think it's not so much that we have to go and get it and find it and do it. We have to be used to it. We have to like stretch it like a muscle, right? We have to exercise it. And in my work that I do online, in my online course, the Power Plan course, that's like one of the fundamental processes is practicing visualization, practicing claiming what you want, being very, very clear about what you want, and training your brain or retraining your brain to focus on that, to create a structure for your life that says, I will have a thing because I think I want to have it, because I believe in having it be so. Now, a moment ago, I said something and you might have gasped, like, I just have to think it, right? So, so this is, I think, the great thing about, for me, being an oracle, right? Because the oracle will tell me a thing can be so, right? So I will get that for a client. I will get that for myself. I sometimes get it for random strangers. In fact, just the other night, it was pretty awesome. I was at a networking event and someone asked me a question and the oracle just was like listening to her and just tapping me on the shoulder, because as she's talking, it became very clear that there was a message that she had for this woman. And what's really funny is I have what others have deemed the face. And it's when the oracle is talking to me, there I kind of have this face, I guess, that comes across. And so she stopped me and asked, like, what was I thinking? And so I said, well, she just wanted to share with you that all this stuff you're asking, it's really simple. And so I gave her the answer. And since I don't want to share her information, but just to say that I gave her a very simple answer, and I started to walk away, and she was like, oh, thank you so much. Right. And it was funny because I thought, the answer that the Oracle provided her, it's not mine. It's not the Oracle's, like, and that's something to tell people. It's like, this is just like, the answer is really inside of you. The answer is always inside of you. And sometimes we get distracted because we think it has to be hard. We think we have to push or struggle. And I'm not saying that there aren't times when that's the case, but sometimes the answer is really simple. It's really clear. It's really easy. And when we start to make stories about the fact that it has to be hard, then we create experiences where indeed it is hard. Right? Our thoughts create the thing. They also create the way we believe we mean said thing. So how can you then allow yourself? Sarah says, so true. Yes. And Sarah, I want to give a shout out to Sarah Thorpe, everybody. Hey, Sarah. Speaking of doing things, Sarah just had her first retreat, and I loved hearing about it. I loved hearing how phenomenal it went. And I know that, she had shared, and if you find Sarah, follow her on Facebook. She's amazing. That there was this place where she talked about the struggle piece as well. And I'm not saying that struggle doesn't exist. So just whoever wants to jump on here and hate on me because I said that, I'm sorry, not really. But I mean, I think there is a way for us to make it less so. So why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we make it less so? Why wouldn't we embrace the concept that sometimes the story we're telling ourselves that it is difficult, that this will have to be hard. Oftentimes when I work with clients in regards to changing careers or career paths or even jobs, there's this idea that there needs to be a struggle or it's not worth it. Like they didn't pay the price, whatever that price is. I just, and I'm going to be really blunt and honest with you. I was there. For those of you who haven't heard the story before, I walked away from my life in my early 20s. I literally walked away with the shirt on my back and 53 cents in my pocket. And I struggled really hard until I listened to the voice of the Oracle who said, okay, are you done doing this now? Can we do this differently? Like, are you ready? And I honestly don't. I don't regret that experience because I learned so much, everything that happened during that transition time. And I take it with me every single day, right? In all facets. Like when I meet with a client who's really tight on money, I get that. It's not like I'm just saying, oh, I understand it, conceptually. I was there. I understand. And I am also in a place in my life where I had $100,000 in revenue in a single month. And I know I am still the same being, right? So whatever it took for me to get to a place where I could accept and receive that kind of lavish abundance and flow was possible, it actually existed in my 20s when I had 53 cents in my pocket as well, right? I knew some part of me believed it was possible. And that's what got me back up. And that's what got me to take action. And that's what got me to do things towards this place I am now. And yet, would I if I could go back and talk to her, tell her, look, there's going to be a month when you look at your, by the way, business and you see this revenue. Would she believe me? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Would I go back and tell her that? Absolutely. And do I go out and let everyone else know that? Absolutely. I want people to know that there is a huge, immense power and gift at your, maybe not at your fingertips, but at the tip of your tongue, right? Like what you speak into being matters. And that doesn't go away. So know for yourself that having what you want to have happen in your life, it doesn't have to be hard. It may take action on your part. And you can help things along if you speak to that, if you hold that vision, if you believe in your own mind that it is possible. Because the universe is always listening. It is responding to that constant thought. That direction you are pointing yourself matters. And I hope that this inspires you tonight to look around and ask yourself that thing that we talked about earlier, whether you wrote it down or whether you just thought it in your own head, that thing, that one thing right now that you would want to just bring into being. I hope that at the very least now, you allow yourself to entertain the idea that the more you focus and hold that vision and see it as possible to have it be so, the smoother and clearer the universe, and maybe even swifter the results can be from the universe. So now I hope you can see why I love this book so much. And also, it's a great book. I recommend it constantly, all the time. Anywhere. I was recommending it in France when I was just there a few weeks ago. For people who are like, I don't get it. I don't get the law of attraction. I don't understand miracles. I don't understand this woo-woo stuff. It feels very, random or far-fetched. And I'm like, do you believe in science? And they'll say, yes. I'm like, great. Then get this book, because the holographic universe does such a great job of marrying those two and showing what really is possible when we use those natural instincts and tools that are ours as human beings on this physical plane right now. Hey, thanks for visiting me. Say hello, whoever's here. I really just want to say before we kind of finish tonight that the reason I think that this popped up today, because I always think that everything happens for some reason, and this is no, exception, that the concept of the fact that our thoughts become things, that we are working in a universe that is responding to our thoughts, that is actually co-creating with us and what we believe to be possible, what we believe to be, what we believe we're worthy of, what we believe that we have to have happen, right? Like some people, like I said, have to feel like things have to be hard, they have to be fought for to be won. And others who seemingly think that the world should come right to them, get the world at their feet. And there are people that will look at that and go, well, that doesn't seem fair. It's like, it is just. It's not fair. It just is. Right? So calling it fair, good, bad, etc., I don't think that matters. I think that really taking advantage of it, taking advantage of the opportunity to use what already exists naturally in the world, in the universe, on a quantum level to attract what you truly wish and desire to have in your life, I think that it's not only essential for success, but I think it's exactly how we're designed. Like, if you think about it, why wouldn't we be? Right? Like, you can go to nature and look at nature and see that nature evolves itself. Like, the flower doesn't worry about anybody else around it. It just does its thing. It just bees. It just is. And so we can start to accept what's naturally ours as a power, as a gift, if you will, and utilize it. I also think that that's why we have desires. Like, those are inherent in us to bring something about in the universe. It's bigger than you, right? Because I think sometimes people think, oh, that just seems selfish. But it's not. If it's bigger than you, if you look at it from the perspective of the fact that by being more fully alive, alert, and happy, you are bringing all of that to light in the world. And everything that's kind of in you, I think, honestly, that you feel drawn so strongly to, it's a natural internal clock that's going off, right? It's an alarm from inside saying, grow, go that way, do that thing. That's what's next. And when we listen and we capture that and we hold it and we look for ways to really bring it to light, I think that's why the universe jumps in, right? With all the support. Like, sometimes when I had clients that were in my my past groups, I would always make this kind of comment about the week 3 to 5, things would fall apart in their lives. And they'd be like, I'm like, breathe. Because in that same period, suddenly things would shift. And all of a sudden, these amazing occurrences would happen, coincidences. And they would look back and they'd look at me and I'm like, yeah, I know. It is that turning over the churning. And what can make it harder is when we fight it. And when we don't hold on to where we're going. And when we do hold on where we're going, when we do say, okay, this is really crazy stuff that's going on, but something is happening. I'm going to hang out and look for what's happening. And then all of a sudden, people would get phone calls, or they would get emails, or they would bump into somebody at the grocery store and an opportunity would happen. And they'd be like, how is this even possible? We are all connected and the universe is always listening. And when you step into what would equivalently be your lane, then the things you are meant to see and have and be exposed to show up. So I hope that whatever that one thing is that you had come to mind, that you entertain right now, that it is absolutely possible for you, and go out and look for ways for it to be. To kind of say yes to everything that brings you one step closer to it, right? And if you're having challenges, if you're having difficulty kind of ferreting out what that is, I'm always here to help. You can always reach out. I'll put a link in this comment section here. I have, for the month of November, I have some free spots that I offered for some free chats. So I'll go ahead and put that link in here as well. So if you need some help, if you want just some insight from myself and the Oracle about what might be an opportunity that you've been overlooking, I'm happy to do that as well. And I also want to remind everybody that registration is now open for the Master Creators Alchemy Retreat. And we do a lot more diving into the quantum attraction and what it really means to practice and to use this tool in a manner that is focused and determined and purposeful. So thanks everybody for joining me. Thanks Sarah for the comments, and congratulations on your great retreat. And to everybody else, please know No, no, no. With all of my heart, I hope that you know this, that you are absolutely here on purpose and that those things that you desire, you deserve. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next week for Wild Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Coach Leah, the Oracle on Purpose.